Hi, welcome back to edtech. Today I'll be teaching you all about grid template rows property. Last time it was all about grid template column property. Okay, let's get started. So let's create a div for class called vegetables. Div class equals to, let's say, veggie or vegetables. Let's call it veggie for short. Close the div. Okay, then let's so this veggie of the div class, or rather this div class, serves to work as a container for the remaining div that I'm going to insert inside for different items. Let's say there are 6 items or 6 types of vegetables inside this container. Okay, so since this is inside, let's make it inside this div. Give it another class. Let's say item 1. Carrot. Close the div. Another one for the next item. Let's say item 2. The class is item 2. Let's call this celery. Close again. Next, for next item, sorry, I forgot the opening. Div class equals item 3. Item 3. Let's say it's spinach. Close the div. Yet another item. Let's say item 3. This is a class for this item. Close this div. Let's call this, let's presume that this item belongs to potato. Sorry, potato. Close this div as usual. Be careful when you are closing. Next, div class equals item 4. Let's say this one is onion. Close this div. Next item for the next class. So the div class for this item is item 5. close. Let's say it's ginger. Then the sixth item, which is the last of it, div class equals item 6. Close this. Let's call chili. Let's call it chili. Close the div. By mistake, I put the container div upstairs. It's supposed to be closed below. Be careful. Okay, so close this the previous container div. Right. Okay, this gap shouldn't be there, but it's okay, nothing major. Now let's go to the CSS part. So we have a container named with a class of veggie with 6 items, and the items mentioned here with different classes from item 1 to item 6. Close the container, so it's all within the veggie container. Then we go to our CSS. Now since it's class of veggie, so the selector would be the class of veggie. So we term it, don't forget to put the dot veggie. Use a selector and then use the curly brackets. Okay, display is grid, of course. Semicolon after the display grid. Okay, grid template. Grid template. I'm sorry, it's put the until I didn't put the dash properly. Grid template. Columns. This is about columns. Auto, because there are 6 items, so we make 3 columns. So 3 auto. But remember, this chapter is about rows, but still we need to make columns. Okay, next. So columns, we have like 3 columns and 2 rows. So that makes 6 items, right? So grid template rows. Let's say 20 px and let's say 200 px. Next, grid gap. Grid gap 10 px. background color, background color, background color, let's say brown, padding, let's say 10 px. Okay, next we do the styling for the divs inside. So we choose dot veggie, where's my arrow gone? Let's look for it here. Okay, veggie, and then okay, div. What does this mean? So this means we are looking for that particular div which is inside the container veggie. Now start styling that. Background color, background color, let's say sky blue, or let's say just blue. Text align, center, padding, (20 px), font size, (25 px), color white, so now remember, since this is about grid template rows property here, when you do the 2 rows, we've purposely and intentionally done uneven rows so that you know that this will be specifying and signifying the heights of each row, as you will see in the picture, as versus the previous lesson in which we did the grid template columns, which was signifying the width of each column. So here it is the height of each row. So you'll see that in the result. If you can give it auto, or later you can adjust, but this is just to show you how it signifies the height. So if you were to give the grid template rows auto, you can see what happens. the result would be better if you see in your desktop. And then do not worry about the equal height or equal width. You can always adjust. The idea is just to show you that by using the grid template rows property, you can adjust the height. Whereas by manipulating the grid template columns, you can specify or manipulate the width, which we did in the previous lesson. As for dimensions, you can make it equal or you can make it different. It's up to you. And you can even make it fitted by giving it different dimensions. Okay, see you in the next lesson. Bye.